Hi, I'm Dan Raywood, IT Security Guru, here with Scott Gordon from ForeScout Technologies. Scott, you've just done the IDG report, the Cyber Defence Maturity Report.
That's right.
What interests you about that area in particular, and why did you commission that report?
Well, we've seen tons of reports on threats, tons of reports on breaches. What we wanted to look at is what's the sentiment from the people in the trenches, the IT security folks that are implementing the policies, the controls, and the tools. What are their perceptions if things are getting better or worse? Where are they placing emphasis with changing things that may not be working effectively? And so that's a perspective we want to look at and really educate the market on where things could be improved and where things aren't working. So take another look at reevaluating where investments are being made.
Sure.
And this was a global report. So this was 1,600 IT professionals, the majority of them decision makers and influencers, companies that were 500 employees or higher. In fact, half of the report was 2,500 employees or higher, and covering 3 regions, UK, DACH, and the US, and covering 5 markets. So it was covering education, it was covering healthcare, it was covering manufacturing, retail, and government.
So what were the key findings from the report, and what interested you personally?
So what was interesting, we asked some basic questions. So what we found interesting was we all know that cyber threats are definitely out there and people are being attacked, but we didn't know the velocity and what was the real impact. So what was interesting is that of, again, 1,600 respondents, 96% experienced at least one significant incident in the last 12 months. What was shocking was 1 out of 6 experienced more than 5 significant security incidents, again affecting outage, affecting response, having financial impact, again within 12 months. And that was an eye-opener to see just how prevalent. So now it's really not a matter of if or when you're going to be attacked or experience a significant security violation, but it's really more about containment and how you're going to handle it and what are the processes to get back to resumption. And that's really what the trend we're seeing out of industry, what people are gearing up for.
So 1 in 6 experience 5 or more, did you say?
That's right.
I mean, that's pretty heavy. I mean, we've seen big breaches all across from the last 12 months, and often that's a one breach, that's one incident. How large are these incidents or breaches?
In size of scope, we gave some basic parameters for what was a serious, significant incident. But what was also interesting is we asked, what, if any, did they find as being more challenging in terms of how they handle problems, and also if they found the fact that there's greater IT complexity, greater infrastructure dynamics, and more threats, if they found the whole security management the same, easier, or more challenging than 2 years ago. 40% felt that things were way more challenging than 2 years ago. And the key areas they felt that were most challenging were problem identification, problem diagnostics, and problem remediation. So problem documentation, and problem monitoring, that wasn't the issue, but it's really prevention and mitigation or response.
And what should businesses do if they are worried about these kind of incidents, and what's the best form of defense?
So in terms of what's going on, the most prevalent type of violations and attacks, certainly phishing, unauthorized access to network resources, unsanctioned application use, obviously mobile security, those were among the top issues. And in terms of where people feel that they're pretty comfortable in investments, were around the use of SIM technology, some wireless technology, the use of creating policies. But there was a real gap that we discovered in terms of visibility and control. And there was also conflicting information on what was felt as areas that needed improvement but the perception was that those areas actually investments weren't being made to actually take the improvements to address the threats that were most impactful. So that was a little disconcerting. So what we also looked at was, when we get back to this visibility and control area, is what were the top things that they felt that they had a handle on in terms of visibility and control, and what were the top areas that they had less comfort or perceived risk. And all these things I'm about to mention, 60% felt they had no confidence or only somewhat confidence in the systems that they had were properly configured, and the systems that they had that they were following security standards in their configurations. At least 60% felt that virtualization security was challenging. Over 60% did not have confidence on exactly what's on their network. And over 60% did not have confidence in their remote systems also adhering to security standards. And those are big numbers. And again, if you can't see something, you can't really manage it. So it's tough to take preemptive measures or remediation measures if you don't have full control of everything that's touching your infrastructure and your services, your sensitive data.
So we're here in Las Vegas at the Black Hat Conference. What are customers saying to you on the booth, and generally about visibility and defense?
Right. So we're here at the Black Hat Conference, and we're showing our Counteract platform, and again, it really aligns to what we're seeing at the conference. A big buzz, obviously, are advanced threats. Another big buzz is continuous monitoring, and also how to take a proactive or more continuous defense model. That also aligns to Gartner, which is their whole adaptive security model, where continuous monitoring, being in a state of being able to contain and address threats dynamically and have processes built around that. And so what we're demonstrating is how our product really cuts down the visibility gaps, and also how our product can also not just work directly to do endpoint enforcement and remediation, but also work within the ecosystem to enhance control context, and also to, based on that, take more automated remediation and mitigation capabilities.
So as you saw at the top of the video there, the Plugfest is going on here at Black Hat. What sort of companies are you working with on that, and what is Plugfest all about? So
we want to demonstrate how our control fabric architecture, which is the technology that provides this bidirectional integration, how that is a strong part of our platform and how it's a reality. This technology is proven. We've been having this solution in our product's a 10-year-old product, 10-year-old plus actually. The technology within that product is 6 years old, so it's proven it's out there. And we want to show how it's real and the type of partners we have. We have over 20 control fabric partners. We have integration with 80 key elements in the infrastructure. And so at this Black Hat Plugfest right here in Vegas, we're showing integration with Logarithm, with SIM, MobileIron for MDM. We're also showing integration with Rapid7 and vulnerability assessment. We're showing integration also with ThreatStream, which is taking threat intelligence. And we're also showing integration with the general infrastructure. So virtualization, for example. So just to give an example, with vulnerability assessment, we talk about visibility gaps. So one of the gaps with visibility is transient devices. So folks use scanners on a periodic basis. So you're only good as your last scan. But most people aren't scanning during production hours, and most people scan maybe once a week or once a month. In fact, on average, it's once a month. So what do you do in between scans? And what do you do about devices that are not on while that scan is happening? So with our system, we can tell a vulnerability assessment tool, hey, this system came online. It could be a virtual machine. It could be another device is online. Initiate a scan. We can also get all that vulnerability knowledge and intelligence from a scanner, have it into our system as a property, and now you can run not only mitigation, but you can do direct remediation of some of the low and easy items. So maybe they identify a system that has needs a patch. Our system can pull that up and then kick off a WSIS patch update of that system, and then we can then tell the scanner to rescan it, and now we're maintaining the scanning data, we're knocking out some of the vulnerabilities, and this can all be done without human interaction. So it's these things of how do we get more continuous visibility, continuous control, continuous mitigation, and how can we do it in a policy-based way so people can do more with less.
All right, Scott, thank you very much for your time, and I'm glad the show's been a success for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.